Ahoy, and welcome back to Leia's Library. Find yourself a cozy corner, get yourself something nice and cozy to drink, and let's get started. So today we're going to be doing something a little different. I recently reorganized my bookshelves, and I wanted to show them off a little bit. Is this video for me? Maybe, but I hope you also enjoy it too. So yeah, I'll be taking you on a little tour of my shelves, and I'll be stopping if I have any sort of interesting little backstories to anything. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. So we're gonna stop at the very top left corner with this little clock that I got. I love clocks. They're like a fascination of mine. And I found this one for $6 at a thrift store, so he had to come home with me, and I love him, so it worked out really nicely. Isn't he just gorgeous? I love him so much. And yes, I do refer to inanimate objects with gendered pronouns. I am one of those people. And beside little clock, we have some fake flowers that I've accumulated. I was commissioned to make little flower hair clips a couple months back, and I accidentally bought way too many fake flowers, so the remainders just kind of hang out here until I have an actual project for them. And in the back there is this a jar of giant vial. I'm not quite sure what the word is for it, but it came from the dollar store, and we got it as a Halloween decoration, but it was too cute to only have out just for Halloween, so it now just lives up here. And you can see my cat has chewed the ends off of the ribbons, which is why it is now in a place she cannot reach. And in the middle, at the very top, we have this little penguin art print that I got a couple years ago. My partner and I, we kind of refer to each other as penguins, so we thought that represented us very well. And up top here we have Theo the book bearer, who used to hold a little Indigo gift card, but now he just kind of sits atop all the books, and he has little glasses that I think are so charming. So yeah, he just lives there on top of our board game collection, along with Wuzzy and Honey, who I've had for a very long time. Oh no, I've ruined everything. Oh no. Okay, crisis averted. They sit together because they are in love, I have decided. Yeah, I've had them for a long time, and I will very often come up with backstories for my stuffed animals, so that's why they are in love. And moving down to the first shelf, we have my literary boys, who used to be a shelf down, but unfortunately ran out of space there. They're very cute. They're little squishy little feet. We got William Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes, and Edgar Allan Poe. And if you look closely on Shakespeare's boots, you can see that my cat has chewed them to bits, which is funny because her name is Hamlet, so it is very fitting that Hamlet went after Shakespeare's shoes. I also find it my favorite thing about little Edgar is that he has a little raven attached to his shoulder, which is very cute. Well, let's try to put that back. There we go. Oh, well, I tried. I do find it funny that Sherlock Holmes is the only one who is fictional. The other two are real people, and then Sherlock Holmes is also there. So this art print is called Celestial Fox. It is by Petite Press Studio, I believe. I'll link all the artists down in the description in case anybody sees something they really like. Most of them are from local Canadian artists, so if you are Canadian and want to support local, you can do so. I named her Estella. I just thought it fit her very nicely, and she's so beautiful. I could just stare at her all day. Got some daggers that I brought back from Greece when I was like 15. I was very worried about not being able to bring them back on the airplane, but it was fine actually. And then in front of them is actually a throwing knife, or a set of throwing knives that my partner has. Oh, I can't touch anything without destroying it. Oh well. There we go. And this is a very beloved art print of mine. It says, "It's okay if the only thing you did today was breathe." I just love that sentiment, and sometimes it's really hard to believe, but I try my best. This is from Isabelle Angel Art. I'll also link her down below. She has a lot of other really beautiful artworks. And now onto the first shelf. We're gonna start off with little Sapphire, the book dragon. I have a lot of little stuffed animals kind of everywhere. Some of them aren't so little, but she's very soft and she's very cute, and she guards the books on the first shelf now. She says hello. And if we look behind her, you can see some books. It's my copy of The Blade itself that I found at the thrift store for like $6 again. I find a lot of things at the bookstore, or not the bookstore. I find a lot of things at the thrift store for like $6. It's really nice. And here we have my Jane Austen collection. I'm going to start by looking at this copy of Emma that is very beautiful. I decided I wanted to have one forward-facing book per shelf, and Emma almost won for the top shelf, because that cover is just so gorgeous. But ultimately, I decided to go with Pride and Prejudice because it is my favorite, and I really like this cover too. And if you look closely, you can kind of see that it has definitely been well loved. It has definitely been read several times and brought on public transit and perhaps dropped on the sidewalk a couple times too. And I kind of, as much as I love preserving books, there is something that is very special about books that have been very clearly well loved and well read. So I don't mind that it has some staining on the cover, or if it's a bit wrinkled or crumpled in places. I just think it's neat. We also have this book by John Barrowman and his sister Carol. If you're not familiar with John Barrowman, he was Captain Jack Harkness in Torchwood and Doctor Who, and I'm a pretty big Doctor Who fan. I've kind of fallen off a bit recently, but it still has a dear place in my heart. Here we have another very well-loved book. It's my Jane Austen that I have, Jane Austen, it is my Jane Eyre that I've had for years and years and years. I had it in CEGEP, or college for non-Quebecers. And you can definitely tell that it too has been read a lot and transported a lot. I just think it adds character. And here is the first of the Alice in Wonderland books. My shelves are so tightly packed that when you pull out one book, it wants to pull out several others. But yeah, so that's the first Alice in Wonderland one. That's the only one that has Through the Looking Glass in it as well. But it's the one with the least interesting cover. It's still lovely, but it is very much not Alice. And here we have this little guy, this little Spartan helmet that I also got in Greece, who looks like he has been through the wars, which is quite fitting. And now we're on to the second shelf. Here's just another thrift store. Actually, this one might have been a garage sale find for very, very cheap for what it is. It's a collection of Miss Marple's stories by Agatha Christie, and this is the book that got me really into Agatha Christie and made me realize that I actually really like cozy murder mysteries. And the cover is made out of leather, and it's very smooth and soft and feels very refined. It also just makes very good sounds. So you may notice as we go on that I have little turtles on my shelves. I have a very small collection of turtles. This is the first one I was given. His name is Hodge. Most of them have names, but not all. And the forward-facing book of this shelf is Dreadnought by April Daniels, which is one of my favorite books ever. It's in my favorite series video. And behind it we have Sovereign, its sequel. And behind that we have Robinson Crusoe, which I have never read. That book belongs to my partner. I forgot to show you, I have all the other Jane Austen books behind Pride and Prejudice. There's Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, Northanger Abbey, which I would really like to replace and get a nicer cover of, and finally Mansfield Park. All the Light We Cannot See is another very beloved book, and then here we have the Neil Gaiman section. I tried to do a nice little flourish, but the books are all such jarring lengths that it didn't quite work. Coraline, you can also see, is very well loved. Coraline is probably my favorite Neil Gaiman book, followed by Neverwhere. I have a copy of American Gods, but I actually don't love American Gods. I'm not even sure if I quite like it, but that's a story for another video. This is my copy of Grimm's Fairy Tales that I'm very proud of. The cover art is gorgeous. It's got these spooky trees. And it's all leather, and it comes with one of those little ribbon bookmarks attached. And it's so gorgeous. It was definitely a consideration for a forward-facing book of this shelf, but unfortunately, it's very large, so it took up too much space. And the pages are gilded along the edge, which just adds that little bit of oomph. We have the Raybear duology, which is another very good series that I love a lot. And the cover art is so gorgeous. Just look at these covers. Oh, I could look at them all day. And here we have the second turtle. I think his name is Tom. I got him in Hawaii. Now we're on to this third shelf with more turtles. These two are also from Hawaii. They're made out of seashells. They're actually from the Republic of Kiribati. They're not from Hawaii at all. What am I saying? But yeah, they were made by some of the local residents of Kiribati. And I can't really say I condone getting them, or I condone going to Hawaii. But there you have it. I was like 15 and on a family trip, so. Here's where I keep all of my bookmarks, as you can see, in a very untidy heap. I'm going to take them off so I can show you. Oh, let's stay in there. Let's talk about love. I'm trying to show you The Haunting of Hill House. with its black edged pages that I think is so cool, and I love it so much. This is a recent gift. I was recently gifted this for Christmas, so I have to show it off because I think it's so cool. At the house in the Cerulean Sea, and here we've got some Japanese manga. It is written in Japanese. I bought it when I was living in Japan. So yeah, I lived in Japan for a bit. And I bought these, and I'm conversational in Japanese, but reading it, I can read hiragana and katakana. My kanji kinda sucks. And because I'm conversational and not fluent, I do often have to look up a lot of words when I'm reading, so unfortunately I never got super far, but this is Akatsuki no Yona, or Yona of the Dawn, which is an anime that I really enjoyed, but only had one season, which is tragic because I was really enjoying it, so I decided to pick up some of the manga while I was in Japan to keep reading, and I didn't get very far, but I would love to go back to it. And then my bookmark is a little Nyanko Sensei from Natsume Yujincho, which is probably my favorite anime of all time, or one of, from Bad Decisions. We have another favorite, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Maxey. I have a whole video reading that one though, so I won't talk too much about it. And the front-facing book of this shelf is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. Let's look at that cover art. Although A Monster Calls was a close contender, because it has a great cover art, but mostly it is one of my favorite books of all time. But ultimately I went with The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea because I just love this cover art so much. It's another one of the ones that I could just look at all day. I feel like I find something new each time I look at it. And behind it we have The Book of Awesome by Neil Pasricha, and its sequel, The Book of Even More Awesome. They're really fun, positive books. Nice, it's just like a quick little fast read in between other books. You have Sundancer, another one of my favorite books. And here we have the complete short story collection of Edgar Allan Poe. I have read all of them, but it's been a very long time and I actually don't remember a lot of them, so I would love to go back and reread certain ones. And here is the Terry Pratchett section, beginning with Good Omens, which was, a Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman collaboration. So these are all the books in the Death miniseries. They are my favorite Terry Pratchett ones so far. And we have another turtle. This one is from the Mayan Riviera, I believe. Next shelf, we've got a little assortment of random things, and then the Brandon Sanderson section, which is quite short for how much I enjoy Brandon Sanderson. But a lot of his books are very large, so it's a bit hard to fit them on bookshelves, so these are the only ones I have for now, which works for me because Mistborn is probably my favorite series by his, so. And Black Beauty, which is another favorite. And we have all of the works of Shakespeare in this 1938 volume. And then we have another turtle. My parents brought him back from Jamaica for me. So yeah, this is my 1938 edition of the works of William Shakespeare. It smells horrendous. It smells like mildew. But it's just so old. I love it, and I even kind of love the fact that it smells horrendous. The text is written super small, so it is very difficult to read, but I mostly just have it for the aesthetic. And then beside it we have my collection of William Shakespeare's sonnets, which I've also had since Sejep, and it is completely fallen apart. The cover has been ripped off. And if you look inside, it's actually signed by Patrick Stewart. I met him at a convention one time and got him to sign my copy of Shakespeare's sonnets. I used to carry this copy around with me everywhere, which is why it's so beaten up. It never left my side. And then we have even more Shakespeare. I don't have all of his books, well, I don't have all of his plays, other than, you know, in the complete works. But I have a lot of them. And up front we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I love this book so much. And the cover on this is gorgeous. It's super soft. I don't know what it's made out of. It almost feels like suede, but it's almost definitely not. I'm just bad at guessing materials. And then this like green shiny hand coming out of the earth. It's everything. And behind it we have the rest of the Shakespeares. Winter's Tale, Twelfth Night, Titus Andronicus and Timon of Athens, The Tempest, Richard III, Othello, and Much Ado About Nothing. My copy of A Midsummer Night's Dream is actually kind of interesting because A Midsummer Night's Dream was actually the first play that I was ever in when I was 15, and it's kind of a common practice for cast members to sign programs for each other. But instead of programs, I decided to have everyone sign my copy of A Midsummer Night's Dream. So I asked them to either, write at the beginning or to find their favorite line that they said and write something near that. So yeah, as I'm flicking through, you might see little handwritten words, and those are from my first ever castmates. Yeah, and it's just really nice to take it out and read it when I'm feeling a bit glum or a bit sad. Just take it out and remember the good old times. Oh, I interrupt this for breaking news. My cat is adorable. So here we have another favorite, The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This cover art is so beautiful. And if my copy of Frankenstein hadn't been that gorgeous, then this would definitely have been the front forward-facing book. But it is also very large, so might not have worked. And here's a little artwork that I got. I ordered something from an artist, and they sent me this for free as a thank you. We have reached the final shelf, starting it off with Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is a book that it's very good, but I didn't enjoy it. It gave me a lot of existential dread. I have a whole video on it, so I don't know how long I'll be keeping it, but I spent money on it, so I felt obligated to keep it for at least a little bit. And beside it we have more Japanese manga in Japanese. This is Black Butler, or Kuroshitsuji. I think this is the first volume, and then this is just a fun one I found that had a rainbow on it, and I thought, wow, that looks so cute and so gay, so I decided to buy it. And beside that is the Tolkien section with Lord of the Rings and Tales from the Perilous Realm. I love Tales from the Perilous Realm. We also have Unfinished Tales there, which I did not like as much. And the next really interesting book is this collection of H.G. Wells' stories, which again, I read all of them, but I only remember certain ones. I don't remember anything from the Island of Dr. Moreau. Literally nothing. I remember The War of the Worlds really well, and I remember The Time Machine really well. And I kind of remember The First Men in the Moon. The Food of the Gods, literally the only thing I remember is that there are giant babies, I think, at some point. Yeah, something like that. But the cover is so cool, and the pages are gilded, and I am a sucker for a pretty cover. I should really reread some of these, especially The Island of Dr. Moreau. The only thing I remember about The Invisible Man is that I'm pretty sure it was kind of racist. We have a little Chris Whitting section. And the front-facing book is, of course, Iron Widow by Shiran Zhizhao. And behind it is a book of my partner's called like Literature of England or something. And underneath that we have The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak and Robin Hood by authors unknown. And the last book on the shelf is this little graphic novel of Star Trek from like the new Trek that I found at the dollar store really randomly. So yeah, that's the bookshelf, or that's the book section of the bookshelf, but there is a whole other section left. So we're gonna start at the very top once again. I have this little gothic arrangement. I have these little dried flowers. I love the aesthetic of dried flowers, especially dried roses. I love flowers because they're very ephemeral, and I just love that, like, preserving them, it kind of gives them a whole new beauty, like a different kind of beauty. So I usually dry out any flowers that I'm given. And then I have this fancy looking dagger here. I used to have quite the assortment of daggers, but I have downsized, unfortunately, and now I only really have two. The other one you will see later. This one is quite sharp, actually. And on the first shelf, here it is. This is kind of called the Loki Shrine shelf. You're going to start over here with the second dagger that I mentioned a couple moments ago. I love this thing so much. I randomly found this at an army thrift store, or some sort of like military thrift store. But the handle is shaped like a scorpion tail, and then it's got these Nordic and Egyptian carvings on the blade, and the blade is black. I don't know what's going on, but I love it. And then we have these little dragons that I was gifted, little dragon gargoyles, and in the center we have Loki from Norse mythology. The statue is actually called Loki and His Children. He's got his two of his children in his gape there, Jormungandr and Fenrir Wolf, or Fenris Wolf. I always get them mixed up. Yeah, they're very cute in their own way. Good boy. And over in the corner we have this dapper gentleman that my partner found at Walmart, and we thought it was so funny that we just bought it. And I'm pretty sure the idea is you put in your own picture, but no, we just like the little gentleman. And the second shelf on this side is my Alice in Wonderland shrine, as I like to call it. So there's a lot of really interesting things on this shelf. They're all Alice in Wonderland related. In the back I have these vintage inspired postcards that came in a pack of like 25. So some I sent to friends, but I kept these ones for myself because I really like the artwork. And in the very corner we have a little empty now sachet of Mad Hatter tea that is from London, from the like official Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if it's a store in London, but yeah, I was gifted that, and the tea was actually quite mediocre, but it's the aesthetic that counts. And here we have my antique tea set that was also gifted to me very kindly. Don't worry, she gets used. I'm not in the habit of just leaving things to rust. She does need a little bit of a shine, actually. But yeah, I do use it actually fairly often. And I also was gifted this other teapot by a friend that's just this very whimsical little ceramic cat, and I love her so much. So I'll use her when I only want a little tea, and I'll use the antique teapot if I want a lot of tea. And here's my second copy of Alice in Wonderland. This one is more of a picture book kind of book. It's got really lovely visuals, and in front of it is our collection of pocket watches. We have several, my partner and I. And there are two more out here in front of, these are actually makeup palettes. They're the ZZ makeup palettes that were done in collaboration with the British Museum. So yeah, they are stunning, and if you isn't that just so pretty? It's so soothing, And the makeup is actually really good quality as well, so you're not just paying for pretty packaging. The makeup is also, it's got a little magnet catch, so sometimes the pocket watches get caught in it. But yeah, you're not just paying for pretty packaging, you're also getting really good makeup that is apparently vegan and cruelty-free, I believe is what it said on the website. Oh, it might not be vegan. It definitely says cruelty-free though. And in the corner we have my third and final copy of Alice Adventures in Wonderland. This is my travel copy because it's travel sized. And there's another clock in the background because, again, I love clocks. This shelf that I'm usually sitting in front of in my videos, this is the shelf for books that didn't fit anywhere else. So we've got this little book of myths and legends from around the world, and then a picture book, a music book, another photo album, this book on fencing, another photo album, I believe, a dictionary, did a couple more photo albums, the Book of Mormon written in Japanese. It's a long story. Yeah, my partner was formerly part of the Mormon church, but he's not so much in it anymore. So we have this Japanese version of the Book of Mormon, and then a tiny New Testament that someone gifted to me, and I didn't have the heart to throw out, so it just lives there. And I have a collection of stones. I just love, I'm not a crystal and stone kind of person in the hippie woo-woo way. I'm a crystal and stone kind of person in the dragon way, where I just like that they're shiny and pretty, and I just like looking at them. My partner recently took up felting as a bit of a hobby, so these are some of his creations. He's got two little octopi and then a little penguin who is sitting on a red wagon, because my partner told me he always wanted a red wagon when he was a child and he never got one, so I bought him that tiny little one for Christmas. And we have more Shakespeare. And I kept the price tags on because I'm very proud that it was initially $30 and I got it for $7. And here's the man himself. I was gifted this little Shakespeare figurine, and it's just the funniest thing to me. He's supposed to hold this little book, but he kind of doesn't. And this is my partner's copy of the complete works of William Shakespeare, and it's a little bit more aesthetic, so it got to be more visible. And here we have some more stones. This, I believe, is agate. I just think it's pretty. And here we have two Zelda books. So we have the Hyrule Historia that I've read completely, and they just contain really neat artwork and like initial drafts of character designs, and they include some more like world building info. That's really cool. I still haven't finished creating a champion. It's quite big, but I'll get there someday. And here we have the video game shelf. Both me and my partner enjoy video games quite a bit. And this is his Pokeball, and inside there is a Jigglypuff. It looks like a little golden card. I'm not actually entirely sure what it is, but it is very cute. And here are some of our games. And this is my ocarina, which is made out of plastic. My partner has his own ocarina, which is ceramic. So his is quite a bit nicer than mine. Here's our Zelda collection. I love Legend of Zelda so much. It's my favorite video game series, although my favorite Zelda video game is actually Twilight Princess. But we only have the physical copy in Wii, and I think the GameCube version is actually the superior version. So if you have access to the GameCube version, play that. Yeah, it's just some of our Zeldas. I'm also a big fan of Wind Waker. Wind Waker is actually the first Legend of Zelda I ever played, so it's the one that began the obsession. Oh, breaking news. My cat has decided to eat her breakfast. And it's really cute. This is her newest puzzle box. And it's oddly entertaining to watch her figure it out. Okay, sorry, back to the shelves. And here we have a little Navi. She's actually a nightlight, but her batteries are almost dead, so she doesn't give off very much light at the moment. And here's our Switch games with Breath of the Wild, of course. And another of my absolute favorite games is Okami. It's very much inspired by Japanese mythology, and you play as Amaterasu, the sun goddess, but she's in a wolf form for some reason. Highly recommend. It's very soothing for people with anxiety. And here's my DS. It's pink, which I used to hate. I hated so much that it was pink, but oh well. And this is my partner's collection of older games for Game Boy. And these beautiful prints came with the Switch release of Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. So we got that, and we got these little prints for free, and they're beautiful. And we're almost at the end. This is the beginning of the DVD shelf, starting with little Loki over here, who's the only bobblehead Funko Pop I have. I have a couple Funko Pops that you'll see. They were all gifted to me. I have never bought one, but there was a time when people kept giving them to me. We got a little Gigi in the corner, who I got in Kobe when I was there. And he comes with me when I do my Kiki cosplay. And this is pretty neat. This is one of those things that I definitely don't need, and I probably should get rid of, but I just can't because I think it's so neat. If I can get the box opened. Oh, did I get it? Come on. You can do it, Leia. Open the box. There we go. It's a little spyglass that is very steampunk. And again, I have no need for it. But it's really neat. So I can't bring myself to get rid of it. And as you can see, opening it one-handed is kind of a struggle. But isn't it neat? I just think it's so cute. Here we have the DVD collection. I used to have quite a sizable collection of DVDs, but now I kind of only keep ones that are very dear to my heart, which is why a lot of them are from are ones that I bought when I was a teenager. Like this copy of Alice, the sci-fi TV movie Alice is very dear to my heart. Anastasia is very dear to my heart. Black Beauty is very dear to my heart. Oh, there they go. I have season 1 of Black Butler in this really beautiful case. And all the series of Doctor Who's from 1 to 5. And I have this version of Hamlet with David Tennant that I don't watch very often, but I just like to have it, you know? and season 1 of Heroes, that is probably, it's like some of the best television ever made, and then season 2 and onward were just pure disappointments. But I still hold on to season 1. I forgot to show you, I got a little Jon Snow Funko Pop. He's got a little sword. He's pretty cute. And I got little Sebastian, the demon butler from Black Butler, but he doesn't stand up by himself. He can do a lot of things, but standing up by himself, I guess, is just not one of them. And this is my partner's, actually, little Gandalf, but he's very cute. And he's standing right in front of the box set of Lord of the Rings, extended edition, of course. My copy of Nightmare for Christmas that I watched, I kid you not, probably like once a day for about a year. I would watch parts of it at least, and this is probably my favorite movie of all time. It's the live-action Peter Pan version with Jason Isaacs as Hook. And then we have, this is one of my favorite sort of unknown series called Primeval. It was a BBC series that didn't run for very long, and almost nobody knows what it is, but it's very dear to my heart as well. As is this little Spock. Well, maybe not this like Funko Pop, but Spock as a character is very dear to my heart. You can see my TOS Star Trek in the back with the 2 space husbands sitting on top of it. And more Star Trek. And we have Tangled, which is my favorite Disney princess movie. And rounding it all out with Torchwood, and got a little Anna in the corner. Rounding it all out. And I guess the last interesting thing is this copy of Van Helsing that I have, which is a really random movie, but the case was so cool that I had to buy it. And that's about it. That's pretty much all the interesting things I have on my shelves. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little bookshelf tour as much as I enjoyed making it and showing it off. And until next time, stay cozy.